Good morning, everyone. Beth Combs here with our Tuesday morning yoga class. Hopefully, you are up and feeling pretty good. Hopefully, you slept well last night. I just want to check and make sure that you can hear me. Just because haven't plugged my microphone in a little while, so I'm just want to double check and make sure that you can hear me. Haven't plugged my microphone in. Okay. Looks like we've got it. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're just going to do a gentle but steady flow practice this morning. And today is kind of a big day. Here in the US, we have election day. And so I just wanted to do a session that was very grounding and supportive. So we're going to do probably a few more standing poses than we might normally do. But we are going to start seated on our mats. So go ahead and head over to your mat. I'm going to sit on a cushion. If you've got a pillow or a block, you could sit up on that too if your hips are tight. We'll go ahead and start in our seated cross-legged pose here. And just begin breathing. We're going to root down through the sits bones, lengthen up through the spine and out the crown of the head. And the hope for our practice this morning is just to get us feeling grounded and centered, feeling more stable, regardless of what else is happening around us externally, happening outside of us that we don't actually have any control over. But we can always tune into our breath. We can always tune into our bodies and the wisdom that it shares with us. So I just invite you throughout the day today, if you catch yourself breathing in a shallow way or breathing really short breaths, to see if you can just open that up a little bit more. Notice if you can feel your sits bones connecting with the center of the earth, or if you're standing, you can root through your heels down to the center of the earth and just take even 5 rounds of breath for yourself. So we'll begin to lengthen our inhales and our exhales. We'll take 3 rounds where we're going to exhale out the mouth. So we'll inhale. Feel free to sigh, make as much noise as you need. And one more. Then you can begin to exhale through the nose. But if you're feeling particularly anxious, I encourage you and invite you to actually exhale through the mouth throughout your practice this morning. Then we'll plant our right hand next to our hip. We'll bring the left arm up alongside the ear. We'll inhale as we lengthen up, fingers up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold over to the right. You can gaze up under your left arm. We'll inhale, we'll come back to center. We're going to fold over our legs, hands out in front of us, and then we'll sway from side to side. Really lengthen and stretch out that low back. We'll inhale, we'll come back up to center, and then we'll switch sides. So left hand on the ground next to our left hip. Inhale the right arm up alongside the ear. Stretch those fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then fold over to the left any amount. You can gaze up under that right arm if you'd like a neck stretch. We'll inhale, we'll come back to center, and then we're going to change the cross of the legs. So whatever leg is in front, you're going to put that behind. Bring the leg that was behind to the front. Again, we'll sit up nice and tall, and this time we will take a twist. So we'll inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, place the left hand on the right knee, and rotate to the right any amount. You can place your right hand back behind you on a block or just on the mat. As you inhale, get a little bit taller. As you exhale, rotate to the right a little bit more. Use your abdominals to rotate. Don't use your hand. And then gaze over that right shoulder. Then we'll inhale, we'll come back to center, and then we'll fold over our legs once again. So you might notice because you've got a different leg in the front that this feels a little different. We'll inhale, we'll come back to center. And then we'll take the right hand, we'll plant it on our left knee. We'll bring our left hand either behind us on a block or on the mat. So we'll inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, rotate to the left. You can gaze over that left shoulder. Again, inhale, sit up a little taller. Exhale, see if you can rotate a little more. And we'll inhale, we'll come back to center. And then we'll come on to all fours on our table in our tabletop position. And I'm gonna move my mat over just a little bit so I don't hit the wall later. So we've got our wrists, our hands and our wrists are lined up underneath our shoulders. Our knees are underneath our hips. We're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow here to really lengthen out our backs and our front bodies. So we'll inhale and we'll lift the forehead and the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Exhale, pull the belly button back towards the spine. Inhale to come up. Exhale, pull back. Inhale to come up. So you really want to be pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, the shins into the mat. Exhale, pull back. And then take two more. I want you to follow your own breath and your own pace. And then we'll all meet back in our tabletop position. And we're going to do a little abdominal work next. So we'll bring the right fingertips out in front of us, bring the left toes back behind us. Let me move up a little bit on my mat here. We'll inhale and we'll start by bringing the right arm up alongside the right ear. Really pressing through that back heel. If you feel a little wobbly, you might just want to stay right here. If you want a little bit more, you can lift that left leg up off the mat, the left foot up, pressing out the heel, from the hip all the way out the heel, reaching through those right fingertips, pulling the belly button in towards the spine. We'll exhale, lower everything down, and we'll switch sides. So left fingertips out in front of us on the mat, right toes back behind us. Again, we'll inhale, we'll lift that left arm alongside the ear, and this might be plenty. If so, just stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can lift that right foot up off the mat. Make sure you're really pushing up out of that right wrist. We'll exhale, lower everything down. And then we'll do each side one more time. Right fingertips out in front of us on the mat. Left toes back behind us on the mat. Inhale the right arm up alongside the right ear. And if you'd like, you can lift that left leg up off the mat as well. Reaching in opposite directions. And exhale, lower everything down. Last side. Left fingertips out in front. Right toes back behind us. We'll inhale the left arm up alongside the left ear. If you'd like, you can lift that right foot up off the mat. Exhale, we'll lower everything down. And then we'll take a child's pose here. So you can bring the knees together and lower the torso down with the hands outstretched and the forehead resting on the mat. Or you can keep the big toes touching but widen the knees the width of the mat and lower the torso down. I like to put my forehead on a block, but you don't have to. I just find it helps me lengthen my tailbone towards the mat a little bit better and connect with my third eye, which is the point in between the eyebrows. That's where our intuition resides. Keep those arms extended, the elbows lifted so the arms are very active. We're pulling our tailbone towards our heels. It doesn't have to actually touch, it just needs to head in that direction. We'll take a few breaths here. We'll inhale, we'll come back up to our tabletop position. And then we're going to step the feet forward in between the hands at the top of the mat. We're going to take a forward fold here. So feel free to bend your knees here if the backs of your thighs, called your hamstrings, are tight. You can clasp the elbows. Just allow your head to lengthen toward the mat. You can shake your head no and nod your head yes. Really lengthen out the neck. You can also place your hands on the mat or even on your shins. Switch the clasp of your elbows. Then we're going to bend the knees and we're going to inhale and sweep the arms up and around and exhale the hands to heart center. So we're going to do at least a few rounds of sun salutations to get the body nice and warmed up. We'll go nice and slow and steady here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. And then we're going to exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back. You can lower to tabletop and then lower the torso all the way down to the mat. We'll pull the tailbone towards the heels. We'll inhale and lift the torso up to cobra or even baby cobra. And then we're going to exhale. We're going to come back to tabletop and then pull the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So feel free to pedal your feet out here. You can bend your knees again if your hamstrings are tight.
I just really like to take this as a nice time for a calf stretch. So if your calves are tight, down dog is a great stretch for that. You want to make sure the weight is even between your hands and your feet. Then we're going to step the feet forward in between the hands. We'll inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. And exhale the hands to heart center. So we'll do that at least 2 more times. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back. You can lower to tabletop or lower all the way down in chaturanga. We'll pull the tailbone towards the heels. All 10 toes are pressing into the mat. We'll inhale the torso up to cobra. And then exhale, come to tabletop, and then pull the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Then we'll step the feet up in between the hands at the top of the mat. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale the hands to heart center. We've got one more here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, lower down to the mat, either through tabletop or chaturanga. We're going to inhale and lift the torso up to cobra, or lift the legs up for upward facing dog. And then pull the hips up and back for downward facing dog. You want most of the weight in your hands to be pressing into your index finger and your thumb and squeezing those upper arms in towards your ears. That helps to protect your shoulders. Then we're going to step the feet up in between the hands at the top of the mat. We'll inhale and lift the torso halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. And exhale the hands to heart center. So we'll take a few breaths here in our mountain pose. And then we're going to turn to face the long side of our mats. We're going to step the feet together and then step them apart 3 to 4 feet apart for wide-legged forward fold. So we want to make sure the weight is even between all 4 corners of both feet. We're going to lift the quads up away from the kneecaps. Pull the tailbone down towards the mat. And we're going to leave our hands on our hips for the first one. We're going to lift our heart up towards the ceiling and then fold forward at the hips, at the waist. You can plant the hands on the mat if you'd like, if you can reach. Otherwise, you can put your hands on blocks. So we'll plant our hands back on our hips. We'll use the strength in our legs to pull our torsos back up to standing. Feel free to step your feet together, shake your legs out. Then we'll set up once again. So again, checking in with the weight of our hands, our feet, lifting the quads up away from the kneecaps, lifting the heart up towards the ceiling, and then fold forward at the hips. And then we're going to take our left hand and reach toward our right ankle for a side body stretch. So maybe you can hold on to the outside of your right shin. Maybe you can reach the ankle. Maybe you can even reach the mat on the other side of the right foot. Don't drop. See if you can try not dropping your left hip down. So you want to try to keep your hips square. You want to try to feel a nice stretch along the left side body, your torso on the left side. And then we'll come back to center and then we'll switch sides. So right hand on the left foot or shin or ankle. So we'll come back to center. We're going to plant our hands on our hips again and then use the strength in our legs to bring our torsos back up to standing. We'll step the feet together, go ahead and give them a little shake, and then we'll take a sun salutation B next. So we'll step up to the top of the mat with the feet hip distance apart. You can bring the big toes to touch if you'd prefer, but if you've got tight hips, you may want your feet a little bit further apart from each other. So we're going to sit back in our chair pose. We're going to squeeze our knees toward one another. We're going to bring the arms up alongside the ears. Our tailbone is pointing towards the mat. We're going to lift our toes up to make sure we're actually engaging in our heels. Take 3 breaths here. Then we're going to fold forward. We'll inhale and lift the torso halfway up. Then we'll exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, lower down through tabletop or chaturanga, all the way to the mat. Tops of our feet are on the mat, tailbone is pulling towards the heels. We'll inhale our torso up to cobra or lift the legs for up dog. And then exhale to pull the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Then we're going to take the right foot, we're going to lift it a couple feet up off the mat, inhale and then exhale, plant that foot in between the hands. You can lower the back knee down for starters. We'll bring the hands up to our bent right knee. Maybe you can bring the arms up alongside the ears. Maybe you can even take a little back bend here. Just make sure you're not crunching into your low back. So you still want to be lengthening your tailbone towards the floor. Then we'll exhale, plant those hands, step the right foot back, come into our downward facing dog. Then we'll lift the left leg up off the mat, couple feet. Inhale and then exhale, plant that left foot in between the hands. Top of the right foot is on the mat. We'll bring our hands up to our bent left knee. We want to make sure our knee is tracking above that left ankle. If you feel pretty steady, you can bring your arms up alongside your ears. So see if you can squeeze the arms toward the ears, but also allow the shoulder blades to glide down the back. So you don't want to be wearing your shoulders as earrings, as they say. Maybe you can take a little back bend here. We'll exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, come back to downward facing dog. We'll step the feet up in between the hands. We'll inhale and lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. And then we're going to inhale as we drop our seat and lift our arms into chair pose. Again, check in and make sure you can see your toes past your knees. You don't want your knees so far forward you can't see your toes. We'll come to standing and exhale the hands to heart center. We'll take a couple breaths here in our mountain pose. Then we'll step to the middle of our mats for our tree pose next. We're going to really root down through that right heel, firm the upper hip in towards the midline of the body. And that'll engage our glute muscles. And we'll start with our left heel just above our right ankle. This might be plenty for you. If you feel a little wobbly, you can always pull your belly button in towards your spine. Otherwise, you can bring your foot up a little higher on your leg. So either your shin or your thigh, but not the knee area. So you need to be above or below your knee. We'll start with the hands on the hips. And if you feel pretty steady, maybe you can bring your arms up alongside your ears. See if you can find a point to gaze at about 10 feet in front of you on the floor. If you fall out of it, see if you can just get back into it. Then we'll exhale, we'll lower everything down. Go ahead and shake your legs out. We're going to firm the left heel down into the mat, firm that upper hip in towards the midline of the body. We'll bring the right heel just above the left ankle this time. If you feel pretty steady and you want a little bit more, you can bring your leg higher up on, or your foot higher up on your left leg. And this time maybe try cactus arms or goalpost arms. Lower everything down, shake those legs out. Then we'll do our warrior two and our extended side angle pose. So our feet are 3 to 4 feet apart. The weight is even between all four corners of the feet. We're going to pick up our left heel, move it away from us, pick up the right toes, rotate them out to the top of the mat. Our hips are pointing toward the upper left corner of our mats. We're going to lock those in place with our hands on our hips. Turn just the torso back towards the long edge of the mat. We'll take an inhale here. On your next exhale, go ahead and bend that right knee. Bring the arms up to a T, so spread nice and wide across the collarbone, reaching through fingers in opposite directions and gazing down that middle finger. Then we'll flip the right palm to face the ceiling. We'll come back to reverse warrior. So you're going to lightly place your left fingertips on your left thigh. Then we're going to come forward. We're going to plant our right elbow on the right knee and bring the left arm up alongside the left ear. Maybe gaze up under that left arm. We'll inhale, come back up to our warrior two. Go ahead and straighten that right knee.
Bring the feet parallel, and you can step the feet together. And then shake the legs out. And then I'll rotate this direction so you can see me a little bit better. So this time we're going to pick up the right heel, move it away from us a tiny bit, not even a whole inch. We're going to take the left toes, rotate them out to the top of the mat. Hips are locked in. Twist just the torso back to the long edge of the mat. We'll inhale and exhale, bend that left knee. You can bring the arms up to a T. Gaze down that middle finger on the left hand. Then we'll flip the left palm and bring the left arm back for reverse warrior. Right fingertips are just gently resting on the right thigh. Then we'll bring the left arm. We're going to rest the left elbow on the left knee. Bring the right arm up alongside the right ear. Maybe gaze up under that right arm. Then we'll bring our hands back to our warrior two. Straighten that left knee. Step the feet up to the top of the mat. We'll take a few breaths here in our mountain pose. And we'll actually end our practice here in our mountain pose. So really feel the heels connecting with rooting into the center of the earth, feeling supported by the earth, feeling grounded and centered. I hope that this practice has helped you to feel grounded and centered now and throughout the rest of the day today. The compassion, the love, and the light in me honors the compassion, the love, and the light in you. Thank you for practicing with me this morning. Namaste. So I'll be doing these morning sessions on Tuesday mornings through the month of November at least. So I hope that you will join me next Tuesday. Until then, have a great day. Bye for now.